a story that blossoms from the deepest darkness of life. William Styron's Sophie's Choice. Dear readers, throughout our lives we encounter countless stories. Sometimes these stories are comforting and offer solace. At other times, they seem to simplify life's complex problems. However, some stories shake our hearts, pierce our souls, and reveal the deepest and darkest abysses of human existence that we never fully realized. Today, I introduce William Styron's masterpiece Sophie's Choice, a book that belongs precisely to this category. While some argue that reading enhances one's intellectual cultivation and broadens knowledge, I dare to say that reading a great novel like Sophie's Choice is not merely the accumulation of knowledge. Rather, it offers profound reflection on the most essential questions of being human: suffering and love, survival and guilt, and moral choices. Through this book, you will expand your understanding of the universal human emotions and experiences, regardless of your academic background or level of cultivation, and open a new lens to view the world. The darkness and truth unfolding on each page of Sophie's Choice. Sophie's Choice opens in the summer of 1947 in Brooklyn, New York. Stingo, a young and naive aspiring writer from the South, takes residence at a boarding house called the Pink House. There, he meets Sophie Załotowska, a beautiful and enigmatic Polish woman, and Nathan Landau, her passionate, genius, yet mentally unstable lover. Stingo gradually becomes entangled in the intense and complex relationship between these three individuals. Sophie is charming and humorous, yet a deep sadness and shadow linger in her gaze. She frequently exhibits hysterical laughter and erratic behavior, while her relationship with Nathan is marked by alternating fierce love and violent conflict. Stingo is both captivated by and fearful of Sophie, and he develops curiosity about her past. Eventually, Sophie begins to gradually share her horrifying past with Stingo, a series of unimaginable suffering and choices amidst history's gravest tragedy, the Holocaust. Sophie was born into an affluent family in Poland. Her father was a university professor and her husband was involved in the resistance movement. However, with the outbreak of World War II and the Nazi occupation of Poland, Sophie's life was completely upended. Sophie's father was arrested alongside her husband due to accusations of anti-Jewish remarks. In reality, he had defended Jews, which the Nazis distorted, and both were sent to the Auschwitz concentration camp. Here, Sophie's story reaches its tragic climax. Upon arrival at Auschwitz, Nazi SS doctors forced Sophie to make an unimaginable choice to save one child and sacrifice the other, or face the threat that both children would die if she refused to decide. In this cruel dilemma, as a mother, Sophie was forced to sacrifice her son to save her daughter. This moment became the source of profound guilt and suffering that would dominate the rest of her life. Sophie's suffering did not end even within the camp. She made every effort to survive, even working as an assistant to the camp commander's secretary. These experiences left deep wounds and an irreparable sense of guilt within her. After the war, Sophie barely survived and came to America, where she met Nathan. While Nathan appeared to comfort her wounds, he too was plagued by unstable mental states and paranoid delusions. The relationship among the three eventually spiraled toward disaster. Nathan exploded with jealous paranoia towards Sophie and Stingo and ultimately chose to commit suicide alongside Sophie in his apartment. Through this tragic event, Stingo gained an understanding of Sophie's life and pain, as well as the profound contradictions inherent in human existence. He survives as a witness to tell Sophie's story to the world. Reflection points raised by Sophie's Choice. Through this deeply sorrowful story, William Styron poses many profound questions and offers insight into life and human nature. The book's core themes are ones that all humans can empathize with and contemplate, regardless of their level of knowledge or cultivation. 1. The Holocaust: the extreme evil humanity can commit and its aftermath. Sophie's Choice goes beyond listing historical facts about the Holocaust to vividly show how it destroys a person's life and crushes a soul. Nazism was not merely a political ideology but a profound evil that completely annihilated human dignity and shook the very identity of an individual. Sophie's suffering is not solely physical but a composite of emotional and spiritual anguish. This book warns us about the most extreme evil humanity is capable of. It clearly demonstrates how hatred, prejudice, and indifference towards specific races or groups can lead to unimaginable tragedies. It also reminds us why it is crucial to remember and learn from past tragedies and why we must resolutely confront discrimination and hate speech prevalent in our society today. The Holocaust is not a thing of the past, rather, it is a timeless warning that the darkness inherent in human nature can surface again. 2. The weight of survivors' guilt and impossible choices. Sophie's choice is the core of this novel and the most painful aspect for readers. The decision for a mother to save one child while sacrificing the other surpasses morality. It is a brutal form of violence itself. Sophie survives, but in doing so, she carries a guilt and mental anguish that never dissipates. This guilt over sacrificing another for her survival becomes a poison that consumes her life. This is not solely Sophie's story. It symbolizes one aspect of the survivor's guilt experienced by many who survived extreme situations. Questions such as, why did I survive while they died? And was my choice truly right? Become deeply significant even in our everyday lives. We all face choices, big or small, that impact others. This book encourages us to seriously reflect on the consequences of our choices and their weight. It also conveys a deep message of empathy. We must not easily judge or condemn another's painful decisions. 3. Love and madness, and destructive relationships. Sophie and Nathan's relationship is another central element of the book. While it appears Nathan understands and loves Sophie, his love is stained with paranoia and madness. He idolizes Sophie one moment and accuses and attacks her the next. Sophie clings to Nathan's passionate love but suffers from his erratic behavior. Their relationship symbolizes how two wounded souls can rely on each other yet ultimately destroy one another. It reveals the darkness we may encounter in relationships, the control, violence, and mental instability that can be masked under the guise of love. This novel serves as a cautionary tale about what constitutes a healthy relationship and what warning signs we should be aware of in our relationships. 4. The power of stories and the responsibility of witnessing. Stingo, the aspiring writer, acts as both witness to the tragedy and narrator of Sophie's story. Struggling to understand Sophie's pain and recording her story allows him to grow as well. Sophie's story is so horrifying it carries a weight impossible for one person to bear alone. However, when Stingo listens and records it, and when readers read it, Sophie's suffering transcends a personal tragedy to become a collective wound of humanity. This novel reminds us why we must listen to others' stories and why recording and witnessing truths that might otherwise be forgotten is essential. Stories possess a powerful force not just as entertainment but as a means to understand the past, shape the future, and bring comfort to those in pain. We come to realize, as Stingo does, our responsibility to listen to the suffering voices around us and help their stories reach the world. 5. The complexity and contradictions of human existence. The characters in Sophie's Choice are complex beings that cannot be simply categorized as good or evil, beautiful or ugly, loving or hating. Sophie is both a victim and a complex figure who had to make difficult choices to survive. Nathan possesses genius and madness, and even the Nazi SS doctor shows a multifaceted nature by enjoying classical music. These characters reveal the layered nature of humanity. This book teaches us that the world cannot be defined in simplistic terms of good or bad. Humans are fragile yet strong, selfish yet selfless, beautiful yet ugly, contradictory beings filled with paradoxes. Understanding this complexity helps us better understand others, avoid hasty judgments, and accept the world's intricacies. This, in essence, is the core of true cultivation. Why should we read Sophie's Choice? Some may think that hearing the words knowledge and cultivation means something difficult, boring, or irrelevant to them. However, Sophie's Choice is a book that shatters such preconceptions. This novel is not a story only the well-educated or cultivated can access. Rather, it is a deeply human story about universal emotions and experiences, suffering and love. Reading this book will not be easy. Each page may press against your chest, bringing pain and despair. Yet, it is precisely through this painful reading experience that we face the deepest truths of life. We feel empathy for Sophie's pain, we are shocked by human cruelty, and we are awed by the remarkable resilience of the human spirit. Sophie's choice is more than a tragic story, it carries a message for us all to remember the pain of history, to hold responsibility for our present choices, and to find the courage to move forward into the future. Reading this book is more than just reading, it is a profound journey that broadens our hearts and deepens our understanding of the world. I sincerely encourage everyone who reads these words to bravely step into this grand narrative. I am confident that your perspective on life will become significantly richer.